So the Power Ranger film is out. Hit cinemas the other day. I'm kind of glad. This is my non-spoiler review as well as my thoughts about it. The movie had a great storyline as well as the characters were very strong and they developed within the film quite quickly, but not in the rushing stage. It was boom, they developed really quickly and really strongly as well. Billy was absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to talk about all the characters later, but I really liked Billy in this film, and when you see it for yourself, you'll see why. He literally becomes, I think, within very cool, I'd say, after kind of drawing attention, that's when you just see him kind of like shine really quickly, and then he becomes a lovable person, and I loved it. Now, the visuals were really cool. I really enjoyed them, and they kind of stood out, and some of them were really subtle, some of them were kind of like, whoa! Now, I'm going to talk about this. I've always said that I hated the helmets within the thing. I absolutely couldn't stand them. And when you watch it, you don't kind of notice it. I like that. I didn't really notice the helmets. I didn't pick it out. The suits looked absolutely stunning, and I couldn't really stop watching when they were on screen. Well, effectively, it was a giant big screen. But I couldn't stop watching, and the fighting scenes and the action was really, really well done. Now, the music was really well played, and at points, it did just kind of like meld in really well, and you couldn't really tell because it worked really well with it. Hey, you can, yeah, rhyming, yay! But when like certain elements had popped up, if something nervous was happening or something dramatic was happening, or even the action scene, it was really cool. It was implemented really well. The only gripe I ever had was when later on the dinosaurs are running towards the city. Like, they used the 95 movie music, you know, the Go Go Power Rangers, but it only lasted for a very short amount of time. And that, I kind of really wish that kind of ran in, or an instrumental theme where we could have seen it when fighting. That would have been absolutely, that would have probably ticked everything that I wanted from this film right there. Now, the opening scene, I won't talk about, but I really wish that they made it longer, or they gave a little bit more in depth, rather than having, say, like about I think maybe 2 minutes or something. It could have really been played out, and I think some of the other scenes in the film could have been cut out properly, where this would have been a main focus, and it left me wanting a lot more. And I'm hoping in the second film we're going to see more of that, or we're going to get touched on it, or maybe they could do a prequel, because a prequel would be absolutely awesome, and I would go and see that in a heartbeat. I'm not going to give all of it praise. There were some things that I noticed that to me I would have changed. Mainly it was the very beginning, not the scene for what was happening. It was mainly the colour in it. It was too dark, and not as in dark as in, oh my god, fighting. It was, the fact is, it felt a bit like Superman, Man of Steel, where they could have colour corrected it a lot better, or not made it so kind of like dark on it, because when watching it, I couldn't see what was going on. I could see Zordon and I could see other people, but when looking at what was happening, I couldn't make out any detail whatsoever, and it was just too dark, and it kind of like made me go, oh, is this going to be the entire film? As the film like kind of progresses though, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, to the point where they figured out the balance between it. And I just think, if you've got such a big important part to play at the very beginning of the film, you'd want people to see as much as you can, rather than be boom, there we go, we've just darkened this way too much, so you can just about make out that person, but you know, you're gonna have to use your imagination. When you're introduced each of the characters, regardless of it being the actual Rangers themselves, Zordon and Alpha, they don't feel like strangers. Now, I don't know if this was to me about being a fan that I knew them already, but from not looking at it from a point of view of a fan, when you actually meet them, you can relate to them all, and pretty much, I guarantee each one has gone through something that you could instantly go, I relate to that, that's happened to me, or I'm going through that particular thing that person is going through. And I found that really kind of strange in a way, but I found it a good strange, mainly because it wasn't the whole, oh, who is Jason? Oh, I don't know who Jason is. They didn't feel like strangers, but they really felt like I'd known them, and that I could get to know them, but not like, hi, my name is, and it became weird, if you know what I mean. It just felt like you could be you could get to know them and you could easily follow them and know what they're up to in a day-to-day situation. And if you watch them and they felt down or happy, you go, yeah, I can relate to that very, very easily. About a week before the release of the film, we found out that Billy was going to be autistic and Trini was going to be LGBT. Now, when they did Billy, I was very kind of worried that they may get it wrong or they may say something that would just cause an outcry. But Billy, to me, was, as I said, the best character in this film, just because of the way that he explains himself. And it's not just a quick throwaway line, they actually kind of go into depth in it. And I really liked the fact that they did this. The things that I really, really liked in this film were the effects. You know, I really liked Rita as well. For some strange reason, I thought, oh, this is going to be a quick thing, you know, she just sends out the minions and that's it. But she has a very big role in this, and it's not just a, you know, hold her back. I do think that she was holding back her power, though. I do kind of think that. But when she was on screen, it's like she could be really evil and you could go, oh my god. And the fact is that she was very creepy as well. But then it just like, I kind of guess of how and why she was and what, like, her speech pattern until much later on. And it just screamed amazement. I really liked Elizabeth Banks' role in this, and I can't wait to see her again in the second film, as well as like carrying on all the way through. The way that she was dressed, the way that she spoke, the way that she walked, all said power, and I'm going to wreck this city and destroy everyone, and that I really liked. Some of the things I didn't like about this film really screamed out to me, and it wasn't very subtle, like, oh, I don't like the fact that they've done that. It was very much some of the camera work, it was some of the editing and the lighting. Now, at the very beginning of the film, as I mentioned, the whole lighting system, no, I would have made it lighter, as I said. Now, the camera angles, now I've seen this in TV shows, in other films, is the free roam camera, the basically, I would say, I have no stabilizer, I just have the camera and I'm just going to do that, and that's all it's going to be. It's like, I don't care, I'm not going to stabilize the footage because I want it to be real and I want it to be edgy. And it annoyed me. It genuinely really annoyed me through the entire film, because there are some scenes where it could have been locked on a tripod or it could have been on a dolly and it just kind of would have run smoothly, but they decided that they would go with the whole shaking of the camera, and that kind of ruined it. It's the very beginning with Jason, when you see what he does and how he reacts, it moves way too kind of out of place, and it did kind of spoil it for me. Some of the other things was the editing, and this drove me insane. There were a few scenes where it just cut dramatically and it was like, whoa, hang on a minute, when did that happen? I generally can't put my finger on it whatsoever, and I really hated it. Now, sometimes when they do cuts like that, it's to save time, but you normally get kind of a blending into the next scene. So you'd have like one scene where something's happened, boom, you cut to something that doesn't happen whatsoever, and that kind of really got to me. I didn't like it at all. So with the characters, I really liked how they built some of them up, and then how some of them were kind of One of the characters I thought I would like, but I didn't, was Zach, and it was just his mentality of how he was in the film. There would be points where he just didn't care, and there's points where he would just go off, and it just kind of got to me. Now, they kind of brought it back in and made him settle down in one of the scenes where he explains a lot, and I think at that point he realizes that he needs the entire team, and then he just settles down, he calms everything down, and becomes normal. But it's just the way that he's kind of like, hey, I'm really cocky, and I couldn't get behind it, and I was thinking, really wish that they wrote this character a lot better. Billy, for me, he stole the show, and the interaction between how he became friends with Jason, I could see, and I can see them being friends for a long time, and that's the one that he trusts the most. When you see it, you'll go, oh, but you'll also understand more about Billy when he makes that connection and what Jason does. Jason starts off with being a bit of a knob, and he grows to be a leader over time during the entire film. And again, it wasn't forced. It's not, boom, done quickly, you are the leader of the Power Rangers. Okay, now I have to settle down, I have to be good. He actually shows a lot of emotion, and I don't understand why he's so angry. When you see the trailers, you can see that he's just angry. I don't understand why, and I'm guessing that because they become friends and a higher purpose comes along, he stops and goes, okay, I have to grow up. I have to let all that go, and I have to focus on my team, and we have to save the world. I don't want this to happen to them, and I don't want that to happen to them. And then they work together, and I really like this progression. The character development on Jason completely works really, really well. Kimberly was another character where I thought she would just be pretty much written to be like the Kimberly that was in the show. The whole point of her being a cheerleader type person, and that's it. You think, okay, it's going to be stereotypical, but the way that she transforms, and I do believe that when you see the trailer where she cuts her hair and she's walking down, that is a progression of saying, I've just got rid of my old self, I am a new me, and I don't care. And this really shows all the way throughout the film to the point where you think, yeah, I can relate to that. A drastic change needs to happen, and it just carries on and on and on. There's a point in the film where Trini and Kimberly are bonding, they are becoming friends, and they're using the training that they are doing to kind of become better friends, and I really like that. And I think out of all the bonding experience, their scene to me was the best one, and it made me think, do you know what, I really like this. It shows that they're becoming friends, and is an interesting development that happened. Trini at the point is just kind of very angry, and when you don't know her backstory, you just kind of think, really, you're being that sort of person. But I think like when you watch her, when she talks to the others for the first time, they turn around and go, okay, she wants to make friends. She's needing that connectivity, that she wants to be there, but then it looks like she's been hurt quite a bit and she doesn't want to interact with anyone. But she sees them, and I think like she knows straight there, like, yeah, they're going to be my friends, and it works really well. And when she explains about her backstory and the way that you see her life going through a family, in that cutscene where it's like, pee in the cup! Still like that. I think it's good. You see that she is becoming friends, and that she will then depend on them later on, as everyone will depend on her as well, so therefore it creates a stronger bond. And I briefly mentioned about Zach before. Again, I just thought he was a dick until later on in the film when he actually mellows out. Rita was completely different, and when I think of Rita from any of the time periods from the 95 movie to the point where she was in the series, it felt like she could get the job done, but she didn't want to. This Rita just blew everyone out of the water. She was strong, she was confident, and she just wanted to watch the Zeo Crystal. That was her main goal. And the way that she's found, again, in the next video, I'll explain a bit more. But as you meet her for the first time, she's scary, and it's like, holy crap, I do not want anything to do with you. When the fact that she is looking for Goldar, it's more, this is my mission, I'm doing it, I'm going for it straight away. And this is what I really liked. I never found that she was dull whatsoever. I found her a very interesting character, and the fact is that she, as I said, she would do anything to finish her mission. But I do believe that she held back a lot of power, because I do think she could have just wiped out the Rangers. The way that she got to Trini showed that she wasn't going to stop. She wasn't going to wait a little bit, send in the putties or whatnot. She would have gone to them and she would have killed them, but if she did, then the whole message of that particular scene would have meant nothing. But again, Rita could have gone straight to them, and it would have been, this is going to be interesting if they're going to implement this much later on, or are they going to kind of hold back on it? I don't know, but it would be cool if she went for the other Rangers now. My final thoughts on the film is, I liked it, I really did. I found it, when we're going in there, I didn't go as a Mighty Morphin fan or think of anything about Mighty Morphin. I went in as a Power Ranger fan. The Zord fight scenes were superb, but again, I don't want to go too much because, from what we've seen in the trailers, it's actually quite good, and that's what I'm at the moment basing that on until you watch, if you want to watch the spoiler review. So, with this in mind, you saw a lot of action. This film had action-packed. The only kind of down part, it's near the end point of the film when everything kicks off, and this is where it could have happened maybe halfway through the film, not kind of near the end. I didn't feel that bored in some elements, and I was excited at most, but the film did have its parts. When it came to the editing, which again will be explained in the next video, the editing to me was annoying, and the point where when you go watch a film, you sit there and you immerse yourself in for that amount of time, but when something kind of brings you out of it, it's very hard to put you back into that film. And the film did do it, but then it was easy enough to get behind and go, okay, That's fine. Now, some elements were cut, which again, I'm a bit sad about because it just didn't make sense, but I think with what's going to happen in the second film, they changed some elements around. With some of the bad editing as well as the color correction that could have been done at the very beginning, I did think that those kind of ruined it a little bit, but for the rest of it, I was absolutely happy. I was happy with the characters, bar a little bit of Zach, but I was happy with the way everything else went, and that's what I kind of really liked. The writing, I think that they could have explained themselves a little bit more, but to be honest, the film is good. It's worth going to go see. I would highly recommend it because, hey, it's a good film. This actually replaces 95 and the Turbo film for me completely. So yeah, I would go watch it. I actually want to go see it again. I might go see it again in a few weeks. If I don't, I'm definitely buying and pre-ordering this on Blu-ray as soon as it happens. The character development was done really well. As I said, I enjoyed a lot of it, and there was one or two that I didn't. The opening of the film was amazing, and I can't emphasize it. I just wish there was more. That's all I want. I really wish there was a lot more to this. It would make perfect sense. The Zords and the explanation of why they had extra legs. There is a video. I have recorded a video on this, and it will be out eventually, maybe soon. Who knows? But the way that the Zords moved, like, they could have changed it. Promotional thing that were in there. Now, you could have had a load of other people, but Krispy Kreme. Now, that is going to be everywhere, but it was just Krispy Kreme. That annoyed me. But I can see the old school promotion. Like, do you remember like Back to the Future where you had like, hey, do you want to drink this Pepsi? I only drink Pepsi. The action sequences were fun but short at the end. Now, obviously the training and the preparation for the Rangers all the way through, obviously that needed time and that needed time to build up. But when it kind of came to the last part of the film, boom, it felt like it was over too quickly and it could have lasted a lot longer. Would I go see this again? Yes. Would I buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out? Yes, limited edition as well. Would I recommend going to see this film? Yes, yes I would. I would wholeheartedly go and see this. If, as I said before, this is not like any other Power Ranger product. This is something completely different and it's standing out. It is built its franchise, it's built the foundations which are strong. You could say goldenly strong. Maybe not, but it's strong for what it is. And when we get the next one, I think there's another 6 films or another 5 films coming out now, which would work really, really well, and I will talk about in a later video. With the amount of money it's made already, it's looking to be a really, really good film. And I can't wait for the franchise to kick off, and it means that we're going to be getting them every so often. So every, I don't know, probably like 2 years, but I'm very curious to see how they're going to progress with this with other characters as well. Is it just going to be Rita? Are we going to get a proper Goldar? Are we going to get Babu and Squat? Are we going to get these characters in? I'm really looking forward to seeing them. So I kind of thought I would bring up everything there, and those are kind of my thoughts. So Rangers, I would normally ask you the question of what did you think about it? What are your thoughts? What was your favorite parts? Now, because this is a non-spoiler, what were your thoughts on the film? And please don't give spoilers in case anyone hasn't seen it. That's not what this video is about. Post it on the other one. Let me know what your general thoughts are about the film in the comments below, and I will kind of be checking over and moderating it a little bit so it isn't. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments, and if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel, and as always Rangers, thanks for watching and I'll see you in a bit.